What's up, guys? We are back. Today, we're going to be talking about TM3000. What's that? We want you to become the cybernetic organism to grow your gym and becoming a marketing machine. Because ultimately, the better you are at marketing, the more interest you get, the more people are going to opt in, the more people are going to want to come and join your program, which means more profit and freedom to you. So before we get rolling on teaching you how to become a marketing machine, we want to let you guys know that we are taking on a handful of new gym owners to work with us one-on-one. This is for a limited time only. So make sure you click that link below so you can book your business diagnostics call so we could jump on a call with you and help you get to 7 figures and beyond. So do that before those spots fill up. But let's talk about becoming a marketing machine. So the first step in becoming a marketing machine is you have to learn about your market. All right. While you guys are listening to this, I want you to check your phone. So when you pick up your phone, I want you to go on your Instagram page for the gym, and I want you to scroll through. What is on there? Is it pictures of you shirtless saying, "Come to my gym"? Is it pictures of the machines and the weights that you have? Is it things like that? Well, that's not ideal for getting your right clients in. So you need to learn about your market. And when I say learn about your market, we're not talking about what the gurus will tell you that, oh, you got to have a target demographic and you got to have all these different things and you have to create your ideal avatar. Like, yes, that is important to like that much of an extent, right? Like a little extent. Because ultimately we are a brick and mortar facility. Who is your active clients that you want in there? People who have money who are within 5 miles of your facility. That's ultimately your target demographic. But you need to be able to speak to those people. And those people who have money, who are willing to pay higher ticket, are a certain demographic of people. And you need to learn how to communicate to them. Standing there with your shirt off in a picture saying, "Come to my gym," is not going to attract the ideal client that you want. And a perfect example of this, there's a gym by me. It's I don't know what you want to consider it, but you ever hear of that gym, Jimmy, that called the Dog Pound?
No.
It's like okay, so there's a famous gym I think there's one in New York and one in LA. It's called the Dog Pound. And all like social media people, celebrities go there. That's their target demographic. So if you go on like the Dog Pound's Instagram, you'll see who they're catering to. And it's to a certain amount of people like that. And that's like their target client. So now, if you do it, and I'm going to call Jimmy out, if Jimmy does it in Seattle, right? I'm in New York, so I guess it's a little different. But if Jimmy does it in Seattle, well, Seattle's not known for that. And how many of those celebrity people are going to come to Jimmy's gym because it's in Seattle? This is not going to happen. So you got to learn how to talk to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who are in their 40s and 50s, who are high net worth individuals, who have a busy schedule, and tell them and speak to them. That's who you need to learn how to communicate to. So first things first, step number 1 is you need to learn your market. Stop taking shirtless pics and learn what your market is struggling with.
100%. I couldn't agree more with the illustration of that. It's fine to have shirtless pics if you're freaking Chris Bumstead and you're trying to get 20 to 25-year-old males to get onto your supplement program, but it's not going to attach to your market because you are, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a personal training studio that's brick and mortar. And if you're a personal training studio that's brick and mortar, the last thing you want to do is try and appeal to 20-year-old males, right? They're not spending the premium that you're charging for your service. So who is the type of person that's going to spend the premium for your service, and how are you going to attract them? A CrossFit gym may want to attract a younger audience, potentially, because their workouts are more intense. Older people can't hang with CrossFit as easily. So if you're CrossFit, then maybe you do appeal to a younger audience. But if you're in a personal training facility, it's not about the target market. We serve this type of person. No, you serve the type of person that has money within 5 miles of your gym. Who is that type of person? Identify that person first. That's the person you appeal to. You don't decide who you appeal to and then, open in where I'm at in tech land, where everybody works for a tech company, and everybody works for a tech company and they're transplants from other countries and all this kind of stuff, and they're computer people, and go, I'm going to build a gym where I train hardcore athletes that are you want to be bodybuilders on stage. That's not going to get you to where you want to go, because that's a very, very small subset of the community that you're in for most markets in the United States. Every now and then there's a market where bodybuilding is really popular and you find a niche, but most of these people are online coaches. So when you're online, you can niche really, really low, down really a ton in fitness, because there's so many avenues to go down. But if you're a brick and mortar facility in a suburban town, which is most people, you're probably going to have tech folks or folks that, like Anthony said, high net income earners. They may have kids, so you can have a kids program, but you probably want to design your facility after that 40 to 50-year-old adult that is a little banged up, out of shape, that was sitting at a desk for 10 years, and they need some help losing fat. So that's just the long and short of it. It's more bodies, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, step number 2 to becoming a marketing machine is you got to stay consistent, guys. One of the things, I think I heard this from Grant Cardone, but it was actually really smart, and it allowed me to whatever you put out, no one's going to see it. Assume no one sees what you put out. So with that said, you have to remain consistent. Think about it. You're competing with everything online, everything. You're competing with TikTok. You're competing with the food videos. You're competing with the stupid cat videos. You're competing with all memes, all these things you're competing with. So you have to be consistent and consistent every day, week, month, whatever your cadence is, to be putting out your marketing message. And you have to assume that Mrs. Jones is not going to see it. Because if you assume she doesn't see it, you got to keep reinforcing that. And the more of this content you put out, the more you do it over time, the better your marketing is going to be. You need to be consistent. Consistent. That's what's going to win the game when it comes to becoming a marketing machine. You can't put out one post on social media and assume you're going to get clients from it. You can't, because within 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more, maybe an hour, that post is dead, gone, flew off to the wind, done. So you have to be able to generate more and more content over time in order to be successful with it. So you got to be consistent. Marketing is not a one-trick pony where you do it once and that's it. It's not. You got to consistently be putting it out there. And this is why also with Facebook ads, the more money you have to spend on Facebook ads, the better, because the more it's going to keep showing it to people.
Yeah, 100%. Spend more. What's the old adage? The business that spends more wins the business, or something of that nature, right?
Some Dan Kennedy quote that everybody says over and over and over.
Everybody says. There's truth to it, though. I mean, it's a lot of truth to it. If you can spend more to acquire a client, you can beat out your competition potentially. Now, we look at it and we go, okay, we want to stay consistent. What's the easiest way to stay consistent? To pay the algorithm to send your content in front of more people's faces, right? But having a good combination of the two is probably really the way to go. I have probably missed the boat on that with not doing a lot of organic, because like we've talked about before, I don't have the patience for it. We talk about this a little more in depth in our book, our 7 Steps to 7 Figures book that's coming out, where Anthony does a lot of organic and I do almost zero. But there's other ways to kind of make this consistent in your buyer's mind by continuing to push out content in terms of the ad spend that you use on those platforms, because they're going to see it because it's sponsored, right? So consistency is key. And Ready to move on to number 3 there, Ant?
Yep. And the third one is, and I'm going to let Jimmy take this one because he likes this one. This is like one of his things. This was his thing.
Yeah.
Number 3 is internal promos. So you have to be able, and I think this one is really, really important too, because internal promos are going to bring more like-minded people. Mrs. Jones, who's 45 years old, who works all day, is going to bring more Mrs. Joneses that are 45 that work all day too, because birds of a feather flock together, so to say. So if you get one client who's pretty wealthy, normally they have friends that are wealthy as well. So this is why this works to becoming a high ticket marketing machine. So go ahead.
100%. So as long as you are staying consistent with everything and following everything that we're doing in terms of these other two, this galvanizes the other two and builds them up. So internal promos, it's not necessarily external marketing, but it's still marketing. You still have to market these things. So internal promos that we like the most is our buddy week, which you can get a free training on, by the way. So our buddy week, our charity workouts, and our internal fat loss challenges, as well as some more specific referral promotions. That's more like a giveaway, right? So these things all work together to drive more clients into your facility from your current member base. But you can miss the boat on it if you don't market it properly and consistently. So when we market it within our facility, let's just take the Buddy Week promo, for example, and we look at that. We want to have posters up around the gym. We want to have an email flow and a text flow that goes out in prep for that 10 days before that event happens. We want to have your staff have a script that they're going to follow to talk to each member to get more people in the gym. I'll be honest with you guys. We ran our last Buddy Week was much more successful than the Buddy Week that we ran previously, because the Buddy Week we ran previously, my staff was not on board with the scripting. They got lazy with the scripting. Okay, it happens, but you need to be reminded more than you need to be taught new things. And so once they got reminded that we need to be on top of talking to members about Buddy Week and getting the referrals in there, the last Buddy Week popped off without a hitch. So we look at it, we go, we need all these pieces in place. We need to remind our clients that this thing is happening in a tactful and fun, cheeky way, right? We have an email that goes out for our Buddy Week that says something like, the subject line is, "Do you have any friends?" ? So it's funny and cheeky and that kind of thing, but you have to make sure you have a 10-day cadence leading up to this. As an example, this is the example. 10-day cadence of texts and emails leading up to it to push out to your member base. Posters that go up around the gym. Videos and posts in your private members Facebook group. Your staff having the scripting around making this successful, and not asking if somebody's bringing a friend in, but asking who they're bringing in is very, very key with the language. So those things all need to be in place for all of these internal promotions that you run, whether it's a charity workout, a giveaway, a Buddy Week, or the like. We have to have this language, this announcement, changing the layout of the gym walls, changing posters, and posting it in your private members group and your list to make this all work properly.
Yeah, and one of the things I will say too is, I kind of said it before, but you got to assume Mrs. Jones is not going to see it. So if you get Buddy Week and you download those promos, assume that they never saw it, even if you run it. Jimmy and I run Buddy Week 6 times a year. So essentially we're sending the same campaign 6 times a year. Did the clients ever complain to you that they've saw that before, Jimmy?
No.
Not once. So there you go, guys. So stay consistent with your marketing. Learn about your target market. Stop posting shirtless pics and focus on those internal promos. And until next time, guys, it's Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier. We are out.